Imagine a time millions of years in the future. Humans are long gone, forced to leave the planet. Evolution has turned Earth inside out, inventing strange new places and extraordinary creatures to live in them. Join us for an unprecedented glimpse of destiny. The future is wild. Paris, France. The pinnacle of human art and culture. But 200 million years ago, the Paris we know today was unimaginable. Dinosaurs roamed where future monuments would stand. If their bones didn't litter the ground, no one would ever believe these amazing beasts existed. 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs were wiped out in a mere blink of a cosmic eye. But for evolution, destruction brings opportunity. New creatures, just as magnificent as the dinosaurs, evolved and kept evolving. By the 21st century, one of the most remarkable creatures of all, humans, ruled the planet. But change, revolutionary change, is only a matter of time. Scientists predict in the future, the Earth will become too hostile for human life. We can only hope that before then, humans will seek safety elsewhere in the galaxy. And what if, millions of years in the future, our descendants were to send a space probe to discover the fate of the Earth? What strange new life will be waiting? The future world you are about to see is not fantasy. It was devised by scientists based on the laws of evolution. The space probe releases its fleet of drones, each equipped with a camera to beam back images from the planet's surface. As they disperse, one locks in on where the city of Paris used to be. In place of the Eiffel Tower, scientists believe the drone will find a frozen Arctic tundra stretching as far as the lens can see. The Earth is locked in an ice age. In this new Paris, temperatures reach as low as minus 75 degrees. The wind chill is 175 below, and in some places, the ice is 2 miles thick. In 5 million years, a new creature, an animal never seen before on Earth, rules what was once France. She is a snow stalker. So far in the future, the shape of life has changed dramatically, but the rules of survival haven't. To stay alive, the snow stalker must eat or be eaten. Luckily, she is a perfectly designed killing machine. Only 75 pounds, but all muscle, fur, and fangs. Camouflage white, she dissolves into the Arctic landscape. Her wide jaws are bone-crunching strong. In the spring, this snow stalker gave birth to 2 cubs. To protect themselves against the bitter cold, snow stalkers need a thick layer of fur for insulation. Her pups also need constant feeding. They're too young to hunt for themselves, so their mother heads off into the frigid wasteland, alone. The snow stalker is not a future version of a mountain lion, a wolf, or a bear. Scientists predict that 5 million years in the future, all of these predators will be extinct. Instead, the snow stalker's closest ancestor is a relative of the weasel, the wolverine. In the 21st century, the wolverine's territory extends into the high mountains. Strong, fierce, and fearless, the wolverine is known to attack nearly every animal that crosses its path. In the future, as the Earth's temperature drops, this creature will adapt to the Ice Age. It will add bulk and grow in size to preserve body heat. Its canine teeth will grow into razor-sharp sabers, up to 6 inches long, designed to sever the arteries of prey in a single swipe. As the famished snow stalker heads toward open water, she's drawn to an eerie call. It's coming from these bizarre creatures. The gannet whales. They're as big as walruses. But the gannet whales are, in fact, giant flightless birds, come ashore to lay their eggs. Unfortunately, by doing so, they've made themselves perfect targets for a hungry snow stalker. She's outnumbered and knows that gannet whale beaks can deliver nasty wounds. Still, the drive to feed her young makes the risk worth taking. But the snow stalker is not prepared for the gannet whale's secret weapon. A burning, noxious vomit of partially digested fish. The snow stalker has no choice but to retreat. Back on the bleak Arctic plains, the snow stalker, still hungry, continues to hunt. She spots a large herd on the horizon. These are shag rats, slogging their way through the snow. Shag rats are the size of sheep, shaggy like buffalo, and like cattle travel in herds. But all these animals are now extinct. In the future, biologists believe monster rodents will evolve to take their place. The shag rats are traveling together for protection, forcing the now ravenous snow stalker to follow them for days. She won't strike until just the right moment. An afternoon blizzard hits. The shag rat herd is blinded by a sea of white, providing perfect cover for the patient snow stalker. She's losing precious body heat from not eating. And her pups can't wait much longer. The shag rat is wounded, but manages to stumble away. It drags its body across the frozen tundra, but it's getting weaker by the second. All the snow stalker has to do is follow the trail of blood. Finally, she has meat to restore her energy and take back to her hungry pups. In 5 million years, just like today, the fight for survival is a never-ending struggle. Here, in the future ice age, where Paris once stood. In 5 million years, a space probe travels to the American Midwest, what was once one of the most fertile regions in the world. Scientists predict in the future this will be an ice age desert. Cold and bleak. Eerie and desolate. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts blow off the northern ice sheets. The wind chill is 50 degrees below zero. Sandstorms constantly batter the landscape. Prowling the skies of the future are giant killer bats, a threat to everything in sight. The only safe haven is underground. Here live the Sphinx. The next 24 hours will be critical for them. It's time for their once-a-year mating ritual. But to breed, the Sphinx must venture out to the desert, leaving them exposed and vulnerable. This will be one of the most dangerous days of their lives. The Sphinx is almost a foot long. It lives in a caste system of workers headed by queens. But Sphinx aren't monster insects or rodents. They're birds, relatives of today's quails. Scientists believe when the Ice Age comes, quails will give up flying and evolve to become the first birds to live completely underground. Their wings will now serve as muscular spades. The Sphinx spend their days digging tunnels that can stretch for miles. They're searching for underground tubers, one of the few foods available. For maximum efficiency, they work in teams, communicating by singing to each other. On this day, the Sphinx dig with special urgency. Desperate to find one more meal before they must leave the nest to mate. But in their haste, they kick up sand onto the desert, attracting unwanted attention. This is a hungry desert rattleback, a 40-pound armored rodent of the future. A living, compact tank of an animal. The rattleback digs furiously. But it's after a tuber, not a Sphinx. The Sphinx won't give up easily. They need this meal, especially today. But competing for supper is the least of the Sphinx worries. The rattleback is attracting a far more dangerous threat. These menacing predators of the sky are called death gleaners. Having picked up the rattleback scent, they're headed straight for the Sphinx colony. The death gleaner has a 4-foot wingspan. With such massive wings, it can soar on desert thermals for up to 100 miles a day. Its sharp, powerful teeth and claws make the death gleaner a predator to be reckoned with. The rattleback's in no danger. Its size and armor plating makes it too tough for death cleaners to handle. But its relentless digging is unearthing much easier prey. The Sphinx. As the Sphinx scurry for their lives, the death cleaners, all teeth and claws, move in quickly. One Sphinx is caught out in the open. But today, he manages to escape. As the sun begins to set, the temperature plummets. The death cleaners, which can only fly on the warm desert thermals of daylight, return to their roost. Now, by the light of the full moon, the Sphinx begin to emerge from their subterranean home. It's mating time. The males come out first, gathering in groups and calling to the females. The females eagerly respond. The males have only one chance a year to breed. They show off, hoping to attract the female's attention. Finally, after a lot of flirting, the Sphinx pair off. Tonight, the bleak and lonely desert is rocked with the high-pitched songs of Sphinx in love. But the little birds may have sung too soon. The sun is rising, and the morning warmth brings the death cleaners out of their caves, hungry for breakfast. They're drawn to the Sphinx mating grounds like bats out of hell. Most of the Sphinx make it back underground. But one gets left behind. With a death cleaner bearing down, it doesn't have a chance. Another day has passed in the brutal Ice Age desert of the future. The death cleaners got their meal, but the Sphinx colony will live to see a new generation born. Imagine it's 5 million years in the future. Humans have left the planet. They send a space probe to observe their former home. The probe focuses on the Amazon of South America. This was once one of the richest habitats in the world. Exotic creatures lived in lush rainforests that sprawled over 1 billion acres. Scientists predict that in the future, it will be an overbaked savanna. The global ice age will starve the land of water. The rainforest will disappear, along with the wildlife that thrived here. It's scorchingly hot and dry. Temperatures can soar to over 100 degrees. Grass grows to 6 feet, perfect cover for predators of the future. The savanna stretches for over 1 million square miles, twice the size of Alaska. Blistering summers bring electrical storms that spark raging fires. 5 million years in the future, what kind of animals could possibly survive in such brutal conditions? Giant killer birds. Armor-plated rodents, immune to fire. And these astonishing creatures, the babucaris. They may be the last primates on Earth. The future savanna is a dangerous place. Animals have few remaining trees for refuge. And the grasses hide ever-lurking predators. For the babucaris, there's safety in numbers. So they travel in large troops, constantly on alert. The babucaris' ancestors are a group of 21st century primates called uacares, large social monkeys at home in the rainforest canopy. The uacares eat everything from fruit to small animals. But as the Ice Age advances and most trees disappear, the uacares will take to the ground. They will evolve powerful legs, good for covering great distances as they search for food. Although babucaris eat almost anything, one of their favorite sources of protein is fish. This is a prime example of these primates' ingenuity and dexterity. A hollow basket, woven by hand out of grass stems. The babucaris place the baskets in shallow seasonal rivers. The fish of the future use them for shade. When the baskets are pulled ashore, the fish are trapped inside. But the babucaris can't afford to linger too long out in the open. Their most feared predator, the Caracillus, are watching and waiting. One spots the troop. It sounds the call to gather the pack. The babucaris flee for their lives. The giant birds close behind. The Caracilla is 7 feet tall, big enough to make it ruler of the grasslands. It can reach speeds of 40 miles an hour, making it the fastest creature on the savanna. Its likely ancestor, a dinosaur. Around 150 million years ago, a dinosaur takes flight, likely giving rise to the world's first birds. By the 21st century, there are some 9,000 species of birds, including the fierce South American raptor called the caracara. When the Ice Age arrives, scientists predict the caracara will grow to more than 4 times its original size. As it loses the ability to fly, its wings will turn into arm-like limbs, on the ends of which are the caracilla's most deadly weapons. For even after millions of years of evolution, birds still carry the blueprint for their dinosaur ancestors. And in the future, the caracilla will re-evolve the razor-sharp claw of the dinosaurs. The giant birds are closing in on the babucaris. Time is running out. But suddenly, a caracilla gives a warning cry and calls off the chase. The caracillas have an enemy of their own. A 25-pound armored rodent of the future. The grassland rattleback is a scavenger. This one's headed straight for the unattended Carricilla nest. The Carricillas race back to protect their eggs. It's a classic confrontation. An angry mother against a determined intruder. But the Carricilla's attack has no effect on the rattleback. His armor makes him impervious to her blows. The rattleback lumbers off in search of a nest easier to raid. The Carricillas are quick to rejoin their pursuit of the Babucaris. The Babucaris have a head start, but the Carricillas are master tacticians. One ventures out ahead, while the others drive the unsuspecting primates into the ambush. The Babucaris think they're on the verge of safety, when in fact, the Carricillas have tricked them. And it will cost the Babucaris their lives. In 5 million years, the reign of the primates will be over. Chimps, apes, gorillas, humans will all be gone. And soon, the last of the primates will also disappear, closing the chapter on more than 60 million years of evolution. Paris, France. In just 5 million years, the city of love transforms from cultural icon to frozen wasteland. But the forces of nature are about to reinvent the planet again. Scientists predict, as time moves forward, volcanoes will pump carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. The ice caps will melt. Sea levels will rise, flooding the planet. Humans, safely ensconced elsewhere in the galaxy, send a space probe to investigate their former home. It attaches to the earlier model. Once again, the probe homes in on where Paris used to be. Scientists predict it will find a warm, shallow ocean. For in 100 million years, Earth will become a water world. The water is as warm as a bath, no deeper than 50 feet in most places. Water covers over 75% of the Earth's surface. Today, a violent storm is brewing in this future ocean. Such warm seas will whip up storms that surpass any the Earth has seen before. 200-mile-per-hour winds and 75-foot waves will churn the massive ocean. When the storm clears, what appears to be the remains of an animal floats on the surface. But the creature, although ripped to shreds by the storm, isn't dead after all. Day by day, it regenerates. growing into a massive, living sailboat. Within a week, it's fully reborn. The largest floating animal in the world. This is the ocean phantom. The ocean phantom is 30 feet long. Its stinging tentacles can stretch 9 feet downward. It's actually thousands of separate creatures living together as one colony. It's a jellyfish. 100 million years in the future, this poisonous predator is on the prowl. It needs a source of protein once a week. And it's not picky about what it eats. Just about any creature that crosses its path could be dinner. The ocean phantom is a relative of the Portuguese man-of-war. In the 21st century, the man-of-war is a colony of highly specialized individuals working together. But the man-of-war is only 12 inches long and 6 inches high. 100 million years in the future, the ocean phantom is a jellyfish colony taken to the extreme. Specialized members form sails to harness the wind. Others fill with carbon dioxide to keep the giant animal afloat. Still others hang below the surface, scouring the seabed for food by dangling their poisonous tentacles. The ocean phantom set sail for its hunting grounds, a nearby reef. Fragile coral reefs died out millions of years ago. This future reef is made of red algae. The ocean phantom searches the reef. Attached to its tentacles are dangerous traps called hunting bells, which are ringed with eyes. The ocean phantom spots a potential victim, a small juvenile reef glider. The reef glider is a descendant of the sea slug. Today, sea slugs are mollusks without shells. Most are brightly colored, less than an inch long, and crawl on the ocean floor. 100 million years in the future, the sea slug is sluggish no more. It will grow hundreds of times larger, learn to swim, and become the reef glider. The ocean phantom moves in for the kill. It's thousands of separate organisms, sails, rudders, and hunting bells working in concert. The hunting bells hover above. At just the right moment, the trap springs shut. And the ocean phantom devours the young reef glider. But the giant jellyfish is not without its own enemies. One is the adult reef glider. The juveniles may be easy prey, but the adults, 8 feet long and weighing more than 1,000 pounds, are a force to reckon with. The ocean phantom, slow-moving and at the mercy of the wind, looks like it hasn't got a chance. The reef glider closes in. Its horny beak goes straight for a hunting bell. The phantom fights back with stinging tentacles. But the reef glider is immune to its poison. The monster jellyfish has one last trick up its sleeve. its own private army of sea spiders. "12 inches long, they slither down the tentacles and sink their poisonous fangs into the reef glider. The spiders enjoy food and shelter from the ocean phantom. In return, they valiantly defend their host. Burning in pain, the reef glider slinks off. Soon, another raging storm rolls in across the shallow sea. Once again, the ocean phantom is tossed in the massive swells. Its sails tear apart. Its floats are ripped open. As the storm subsides, the fragments of the ocean phantom drift apart. But these violent episodes are not just destructive. Each piece of the ocean phantom will regenerate, ensuring new generations of giant jellyfish. "100 million years in the future, the cycle of life in the warm, shallow seas continues." "100 million years in the future, our space probe leaves the watery world where Paris once stood and sets its sights on the port city of Calcutta, India. In the 21st century, Calcutta is a megalopolis teeming with 13 million people. But experts predict that in 100 million years, a chunk of Africa will break off and seal the Bay of Bengal, turning Calcutta into this: the vast, brackish Bengal swamp. Plants choke the water and spread deep canopies. The greenhouse planet generates average temperatures of 100 degrees. Humidity hovers at 99%. The swamp covers hundreds of thousands of square miles, over 100 times the size of the Florida Everglades in the 21st century. From this sticky hothouse emerge some of the strangest creatures the world has ever seen. Underwater, lying in wait, is the lurkfish, capable of striking with 1,000 volts of electricity. The ground above shakes with the pounding of torotons, the largest animals ever to walk the earth. And trying to avoid getting in the way of either the lurkfish or toroton is this swampus family. A swampus weighs about 40 pounds. It can survive out of water for up to 4 days by storing oxygen in its body. It's a descendant of the 21st century marine octopus. During breeding season, the swampus protect their young in nurseries made of lily plants. Water collects in their leaves, which act as liquid cradles. In these nurseries, the baby swampus are safe from danger lurking in the open water. But today, there are threats on land as well. Big ones. These are the mighty torotons, hyper-sized relatives of the tortoise. They dwarf every creature that existed before. In the 21st century, the largest land animal was the African elephant, weighing roughly 12,000 pounds. In the age of the dinosaurs, some tipped the scales at 180,000 pounds. The Toroton weighs a ground-shaking 240,000 pounds. A Toroton must eat 1,300 pounds of food a day. Its gut, bigger than an SUV. A mother swampus watches the Toroton warily. She's not worried about being eaten. The Torotons are vegetarians. But the giant beasts are very clumsy. One misstep could spell the end of the swampus family. This Toroton is headed straight for the nursery. It's just a baby, but a baby that weighs 20 tons. The mother swampus is ready to defend her family. The young Toroton doesn't know what hit him. Like the octopus of the 21st century, the swampus has a poisonous bite. The venom works its way through the lumbering giant. Its legs buckle, and the Toroton hits the ground with the force of a train wreck. The sound reverberates for miles. As soon as the swampus gets rid of the Toroton, a new threat emerges from the water. It's a rival swampus. She wants the prized nursery plant for herself. The mother swampus gathers other mothers nesting nearby. They tell the intruder to go away with a bizarre display of force. The unwelcome swampus backs off and retreats into the swamp. The swampus family has once again fought off disaster. Now, the mother swampus is about to face the most terrifying threat of all. She leaves the relative safety of her nest and descends into the murky water. She has no choice. Every 4 days, the swampus's oxygen reserves run low, and she must enter the water to replenish her supply. And lying in wait is the deadliest animal in the swamp. The lurkfish. The lurkfish is 13 feet long. Its killing method? Ambush. Its weapon? Electricity. In the 21st century, electric eels have small muscle blocks that generate electricity, like a series of batteries. They stun their prey with 600 volts. 100 million years of evolution later, the lurkfish is far bigger and far more lethal. Its hundreds of electrical muscle blocks can deliver a terrific shock. over 1,000 volts strong. The lurkfish mimics one of the many tree trunks that litter the swamp. Being cold-blooded, it only needs to eat once a week. But today could be feeding day. The lurkfish holds back, waiting for the swampus to enter striking distance. Then, suddenly, it propels its massive body forward. 1,000 volts strike the mother swampus. She's paralyzed, but not dead. She watches as the lurkfish swallows her alive. Back in the nursery, the swampus babies no longer have a mother to protect them. A herd of tauretons is nearby. It's mating season. As the lumbering giants pair up, they shake the swampland for miles. Intent on their courtship, the tauretons topple everything that stands in the way. Luckily, the young swampus are just old enough to fend for themselves, but they have only moments to escape the chaos. One kick from 120 tons of monster tortoise, and it's all over. The babies barely make it out in time. "100 million years in the future, the swamps are ruled by giants, and there's nowhere to hide. It's 100 million years in the future. Our space probe surveys the Earth, revealing what once was Paris and Calcutta. Now, the probe zeroes in on the Australian outback. Today, this is the home of kangaroos and koala bears. Yet, scientists predict in 100 million years, Australia will collide with Asia and North America, thrusting the Earth skywards, creating immense, jagged mountain ranges. Temperatures can plummet to 30 degrees below zero. Wind gusts hit 110 miles per hour. Mountains rise to 33,000 feet, higher than any on Earth today. It seems impossible that anything can survive in this elevation. But time and time again, life adapts to the worst of circumstances. Here, in these weather-beaten peaks, the probe will search for the last mammals on Earth. And this giant bird of the future will guide us to them. This is the great blue windrunner. A relative of the crane, she's looking for a safe place to nest. For her, this extreme environment is the ideal sanctuary. She's perfectly adapted to mountain life. Her blue color reflects the dangerous ultraviolet radiation found at high altitudes. Think of it as the sunscreen of the future. The great blue windrunner has also evolved an incredible set of wings. Wing size and shape determine how a bird can fly. Narrow wings are for speed. Short wings are for maneuverability. Long, broad wings for soaring distance. The Windrunner wants speed, distance, and maneuverability. The only way to get all that is to add another set of wings, which the Windrunner creates out of her legs. She also has a third set of mini wings called canards to support her long neck and head during flight. With her amazing wings, this bird can soar for days at a time in the thin mountain air, gliding over the highest peaks, diving and maneuvering like a fighter pilot. The Windrunner is the most versatile flying machine ever to evolve, even sleeping on the fly. Here, high in the bitter cold, is the safest place for her to nest and raise her chicks. None of the Windrunner's predators can tolerate the elevation. She also has an abundant food source. These are silver spiders, the perfect meal for a Windrunner with hungry chicks. The silver spiders live in colonies ruled by queens. It's the most sophisticated spider society ever. Their shiny metallic surface reflects dangerous ultraviolet light. And thanks to a highly evolved nervous system, they are cunning. The silver spiders span the mountain gorges with monster-sized webs. As web builders, they ensure success with a strict hierarchy of eight-legged engineers. The smallest and youngest workers are the line casters, whose job is to get the web started. Using fluffy seeds as parachutes, they let the wind carry them across. Next, they secure the line, creating a silken tightrope. To expand the web, another group of spiders appears. They tiptoe out like acrobats. They spin tethers, dangle vertical supports, and weave sheets of fine webbing. The finished product is an ingenious piece of engineering, requiring an incredible 15 miles of silk. Although they could easily trap insects or even small birds, what these webs catch are fluffy seeds. For millions of years, grass seeds like these descendants of bamboo have been carried by the wind. As many as 100,000 seeds a day are caught in a single silver spider web. Every hour of the day, worker spiders disentangle the seeds and carry them to crevices under the mountains for stockpiling. And hiding in the caves, behind the mounds of seeds, is where we find the last mammal on Earth. Furry-faced, all whiskers, round ears, and big eyes. This is a poggle. The poggle is about the size of a mouse. He lives only in caves. He eats only grass seeds. Gone are apes and chimps, cows, pigs, and sheep. Gone are cats and dogs. All that's left of the mammals that once dominated the earth is the poggle. It may appear that poggles are clever seed thieves, stealing from the silver spiders. But the truth is far more sinister. The ingenious spiders are actually harvesting seeds specifically to feed the poggles. And when the little rodents have fattened up, the queen spider, as big as a football, moves in for the slaughter. "100 million years in the future, the last mammals on Earth are being farmed by spiders. It's a bleak end to over 250 million years of evolution. "100 million years in the future, planet Earth is a global hothouse. Warm, wet, and swampy. The creatures that live in this world are some of the weirdest ever to evolve. And yet, scientists believe the future will become even weirder. Over millions of years, the Earth literally explodes as volcanoes erupt all over the planet. The land is engulfed in a raging inferno. Poisonous gas belches upward, blotting out the sun. Some 95% of all creatures die in a massive mass extinction. And yet planet Earth does not stay empty for long. A few survivors will evolve to repopulate the Earth in unimaginable ways. Humans, still living in another part of the galaxy, send a final space probe on one last mission to survey their former home. The space probe directs its lenses on the South Pole. Today, this is Antarctica, a continent locked in ice. Its most famous inhabitants are penguins. But millions of years in the future, Antarctica will move. The continental plates will drift just a few inches a year. But scientific models show that millions of years of small movements will create one giant megacontinent and one single ocean. 200 million years in the future, this is where Antarctica used to be. The ocean is over 4 times the size of the Atlantic. The center is 10,000 miles from the nearest coast. With no land to block the wind, waves can swell to heights of over 100 feet. Patrolling the depths of this global sea is a predator of unfathomable power, the sharkopath. Sharks are great survivors. They prowled the oceans before the dinosaurs roamed. And 200 million years in the future, they will survive the mass extinction and emerge even more terrifying than before. The Sharkopath can reach speeds of over 25 miles per hour. Their jaws can tear flesh with incredible force. And most impressive of all, they hunt in packs, signaling each other with bioluminescent patches on their sides. In 200 million years, evolution has created the ultimate shark. And this fierce killer of the ocean is on the hunt. These little creatures aren't more than between-meal snacks for the Sharkopaths. They aren't fish, most of which didn't survive the mass extinction. Instead, they are completely new, bizarre animals called silver swimmers, which evolved from the larvae of crustaceans. They sense the Sharkopaths nearby. But the sharks have already begun the chase. They drive the silver swimmers toward the surface. It's the opportunity a predator from above has been waiting for. Birds were wiped out in the mass extinction, but the skies quickly filled with new airborne creatures. These are flying fish called flish. They often follow the Sharkopaths, which help drive their prey to the surface. From high overhead, the flish spot a large shoal of silver swimmers, glittering just below the surface. A flish swoops down. But instead of nabbing the silver swimmer, the flish is the victim. It's swallowed up by the future ocean's master of disguise. This is the rainbow squid, the largest creature in the ocean. 120 feet of body, arms, and tentacles. And it can change colors at will. Many squid today share this talent. The secret? Chromatophores, pigment-bearing cells that can be turned on and off to create camouflage or to attract mates. In the future, the rainbow squid takes chromatophores to the extreme. Using one of the most sophisticated brains on the planet, it can control flashes, pulses, and rippling patterns. It can disguise itself to lure a meal, or become virtually invisible by mimicking the color of water. It's mating season for the rainbow squid. As this male nears his breeding grounds, he sets the sea ablaze with a vivid display of color. The females flock to him. But the glittering squid has taken a risk with such a fantastic display. His color and light show attracts attention from more than just the females. The Sharkopaths can go 3 months without food, but after that, they're very hungry, in need of a substantial meal, like a rainbow squid. The bioluminescent patches on their flanks start flashing to alert other members of the pack. Soon, more than a dozen have gathered together. The rainbow squid watches warily with what may be the largest eye on the planet. The sharkopaths surround him. Now is the time for the rainbow squid to call upon its best defense. His sophisticated brain directs the camouflage. He literally disappears. But the sharkopaths aren't backing off. They can still detect pulses of electricity coming from the squid's nervous system. As the sharkopaths move in, the squid's camouflage breaks down. Unmasked, the rainbow squid is helpless. $200 million years in the future, sharks remain one of nature's most brutal and successful killing machines. The ocean, 200 million years in the future. Scientists predict it is one single massive body of water surrounding one supercontinent. The scope of this sea is matched only by the power of its storms. They are hypercanes that rage with more fury than any hurricanes of the 21st century. Fighting to stay alive in the tempest are flocks of bird-like creatures. They are flying fish called flish. As the storm picks up strength, the sea churns relentlessly, battering the coastline. For the flish, there's no escape. Many are pounded against the rocky beach. Others are flung with such force, they're carried over the mountains that line the coast. Landing where New York City once stood. In the 21st century, New York was a metropolis clogged with traffic, skyscrapers, and urban life. But 200 million years in the future, New York is just a small part of a giant desert. It is a desert of unreal extremes. Stretching for thousands of miles across the lone continent, it's over 5 times the size of the United States. Temperatures regularly hit 120 degrees. In some parts, 100 years pass without rainfall. Flying over this vast expanse is a bumble beetle. She's been searching the desert in vain for an entire day in hopes of finding a rotting flish. Now, on the verge of death, she lands. Not to eat, but to lay her larvae, called grimworms. The grimworms chew their way through the flish, doubling in size every 2 days. When they've had their fill, they construct cocoons underground and metamorphosize into bumble beetles. A newborn bumble beetle has just enough energy to last 24 hours. In that short time, she must find the fish carcass and start the life cycle all over again. Further inland, some very different creatures are engaged in their own fight for survival. These bizarre-looking mounds dotting the desert are termite cities. Insects crawled with both dinosaurs and humans. So it's no surprise that they're still thriving 200 million years in the future. Inside the mounds are millions of future termites, called terabytes. The colony is a highly disciplined, highly organized army of workers. Some terabytes are rock borers, which shoot acid to drill through the limestone to reach underground springs. Some are water carriers, so bloated they can't even walk. Other terabytes have to carry them. They transport the water to their greenhouses, where they grow gardens of algae, the principal food of the terabytes and their queen. And these terabytes have a critical job: collecting algae for the greenhouse. When vegetation is scarce, the only way to get it is to steal from other animals, like these incredible creatures, the garden worms. They're living leaves packed with algae. With the terabytes in hot pursuit, the garden worms slither for safety in desert pools. But the terabyte warriors manage to corner one garden worm. Using their remarkable arsenal of chemical weapons, they cloak the garden worm with sticky glue. The terabytes move in, but the garden worm struggles, and the glue gives way. But for the garden worm, safety is elusive. These are underground pools, gateways to a vast network of caves and caverns, and hidden danger. Out of the blackness emerges a 3-foot-long predator. It's a slick ribbon patrolling its territory. The slick ribbon spots the garden worm. The chase is on. Paddles on each segment of the slick ribbon's body propel the monster worm through the water. Its mouth parts are mounted on an extendable trunk. As it closes in on its prey, it shoots out its jaws. The garden worm has one last defense. It releases a chemical cloud. The irritant temporarily blinds the slick ribbon, and the garden worm makes its escape. But there are plenty of others who aren't as lucky in the caves beneath the desert of the future. Time is running out for the bumble beetle. She has only one more hour left to live. She's traveled nearly 500 miles across the desert. Now, she's flying on reserves. But at long last, she picks up the scent of a rotting flesh. She prepares to land, only to find another bumble beetle heading for the same target. They dive, tumble, and turn in a mid-air dogfight. But finally, calling on her last energy stores, she drives her rival away. Now she can deliver her precious cargo. The baby grimworms slither into the rotting flesh. The bumble beetle's job is done. And slowly, she dies. The desert is silent. Signs of life are few. But on the other side of the mountains, another hypercane is brewing. Once again, the restless global ocean will begin the cycle of life, playing its part in this alien world, 200 million years in the future. "200 million years in the future, a space probe surveys a drastically changed planet. Already, it's beamed back images of creatures and landscapes almost too fantastic to believe. Every time the Earth is transformed, it seems life only grows more ingenious. Now, the probe is running out of power. But it's got one last mission to complete. Its voyage of discovery ends where it began, millions of years ago, in Paris, France. Today, Paris is home to the Eiffel Tower. But scientists predict 5 million years in the future, the City of Love will be locked in an ice age. At 100 million years, it will be flooded by a vast, shallow ocean. And 200 million years in the future, near where Paris once stood, will be one of the lushest, wettest rainforests ever seen on the planet. Rainfall measures a staggering 400 inches per year. With all that water, trees often tower as high as the redwoods of today, and the rainforest itself stretches for more than 3,500 miles, covering most of what was Northern Europe. Here in this rain-drenched world, evolution is at a crossroads. The animals who once inhabited the land are all extinct. But now, 2 new creatures come ashore and battle for supremacy. One is the mega squid. It crashes through the jungle on powerful legs. What it lacks in intellect, it makes up in muscle. The other creature is also a squid, called a squibbon. It's small, flexible, agile, and very smart. It's a classic matchup, brain versus brawn. Believe it or not, one of these squid may signal the return of intelligent, even human life on the planet. The mega squid's loud, booming call announces its approach. It'll eat anything in sight. But what it's hunting today is a squibbon. The African elephant averages about 12,000 pounds. The mega squid tips the scale at 16,000. It's as heavy as any land animal in the 21st century. As the giant squid lumbers along, the forest trembles, trees splintering with every step. The squibbons somersault through the branches above, just out of reach. Today, squid inhabit the ocean. Some are less than an inch long. The largest stretches over 60 feet. Squid have no skeleton. The buoyancy of salt water provides all the support they need. Experts believe 200 million years in the future, the squid will move to land to fill the void left by the mass extinction. Without bones, the mega squid will support its massive girth with layer upon layer of muscle. Most large land animals walk on 4 legs. Only careful choreography can keep the mega squid's 8 legs in sync, an 8-ton body from collapsing. The mega squid bellows again, the sound echoing throughout the forest. The call is produced by a strange green vocal sac, which vibrates and serves as an amplifier. This is a call of frustration, for the mega squid has lost sight of the cunning squibbons. The squibbons are safe, high up in the canopy. They live together in organized communes, building nests in the treetops. Like primates, squibbons are very social. Together they hunt, eat, and defend their territory. Navigating through the dense forest requires complex maneuvering. So their brains grow in size to handle the challenge. 200 million years in the future, the squibbons are the smartest creatures on the planet. The mega squid is famished. He's closing in on the squibbons. The adults swing through the branches at top speed, but some of the youngsters can't keep up. Extending a tentacle, the mega squid nabs a baby. The other squibbons sound the alarm. Soon, the entire commune is ready for battle. The squibbons' athleticism can't help them now, but their brain power can. They rely on it now to orchestrate a military strike against the mega squid. They pelt the monster with missiles, branches, fruit, and rocks. It's the first display of weaponry since humans left the planet. While the mega squid is temporarily distracted, the squibbons snatch the baby back. With their big brains, reasoning ability, and cooperative communes, these squid of the future show an intelligence closer to humans than anything that's evolved in 200 million years. You may very well be looking at the forerunners of a future civilization. Over 200 million years, our probe has seen planet Earth transform over and over again. With every change, life has responded, evolving, adapting, and inventing even more incredible creatures. In the future, the revolution will continue. One thing is certain: nature never stands still. And the future is bound to be wild.